Welcome, leaders, teams, and those ready to take charge of their energy. It's Kelly Buboltz, your guide in workforce energy management. Burnout is not just a buzzword, it's a symptom of deeper root cause stressors. We're here to stop waiting for the change and start leading it. It's time to reclaim our energy and lead our days with intention and purpose. According to Capital One's Small Business Growth Index, it's showing an increase in burnout happening in small businesses. And I want to include in this small businesses, entrepreneurs and freelancers when you're kind of on your own trying to figure everything out. If you've ever felt exhausted, unmotivated, like why did I even get into this? Overwhelmed by everything that has to be done every day. And this is happening across the board in 4 different categories that you might be seeing in yourself or in your small business team. Physically, right? They're just exhausted. They're run down. You can see even changes in their behaviors and their physical appearance. Some people overeat, some people undereat, some people's hair is falling out and they start to get that acne. They look really run down, like they haven't been able to rest. Emotionally, feeling that overwhelmed, even if you add one more task, it feels like such a huge task, even if it could be a small thing on the checklist. That also emotional state of helplessness and hopelessness, like why try? Another thing to learn, another thing to do, why try? And this is all spilling over into that cognitive state, getting brain fog, decision fatigue, like you feel like you can't figure things out as sharp as you used to. And relationships just seem more difficult, a lot more conflict, a lot harder to get along. That's what burnout looks like in small businesses. So we're going to talk a little bit about what burnout looks like in a small business and entrepreneurs and freelance workers. We're going to talk about the root causes of why this is happening and also strategies to not only prevent, but recover from it. So why burnout is very common in small businesses, entrepreneurs, and freelance workers is you're kind of juggling it all. You're doing marketing, you're doing accounting, you're doing HR, you're doing customer service, you're doing finances, and you're probably also providing the service that is of value to the customer. That's about 6 roles that you are performing on any given day. And because you're also the owner, you have the financial and vision planning, strategy parts of the business while you're stuck in the day-to-day. That mental load is so conflicting. When I work with small businesses, it almost takes 1 or 2 full sessions to get them out of that day-to-day mindset, that the firefighting mode, and up above to see the whole picture, to start the strategy. So you can see that you can't just switch back and forth between the quick tasks and the strategy tasks. As a business owner, you're also always juggling that like financial and survival type of mode, especially if it's your main income. It's different if it's a part-time or side gig, right? It can still be that added income. But when it makes a full-time income, what you're going to rely on to pay your bills, to feed yourself, there's this extra pressure of survival mode that goes into it. And because you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or freelance worker, you're often working alone, solo, going through these ebbs and flows, the struggles, the challenges alone. So that lack of support systems, that lack of community that you might have around you during that challenging time is also going to feed and fuel that burnout. So before we start talking about how to fix the burnout, I want you to recognize, where is the burnout being fueled? Physically, are you constant fatigue and you're having sleep problems? You're having some health issues. Emotionally, do you have that irritability and frustration with other people? Loss of motivation, like you kind of don't want to do it anymore. Feeling detached from your business, why you went into it in the first place. And are you making mistakes in your business? Are you rushing through work or skipping steps that are important to the procedure and flow? Are you having less patience with your customers where you used to have ample time to serve them? Do you have less creativity to imagine what's new, what's next, or reroute, adapt very fluidly? This can look like you're just putting out fires every day and never getting ahead. So if that looks like you, and I've been there, and I've been in burnout as an employee and as a small business owner, let's talk about some of the root causes that are happening. The first one is overworking. right? We don't have a lot of boundaries, work hours when you are the sole owner. If there's a customer that contacts you after office hours, most likely if you didn't already respond to them, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about your response and the work that you might get out of it. These long hours also come in because every time you're having a conversation, every time you're out somewhere, you're thinking about your business. It never turns off. When you're on vacation, when you try to take a day off, you're thinking about your business. So this leads to actually never having a mental day off, which goes into the next one, lack of boundaries. Because you are the business owner, most likely you're going to take calls anytime. You're going to answer emails anytime. And literally, as a small business owner myself, I've had to go places where I just don't get cell signal. So I can't answer calls, I can't answer texts, I can't reply to emails or social media posts, I can't do anything electronically. And I've had to go that far in this type of state to actually get a boundary. But we don't want you to just go off the grid because you're running a business. We want to get to a point where you can moderate this and have healthy boundaries and then sign on refreshed the next day. But in order to do that, we need to address some of the other root causes going on. Poor delegation. It is very difficult to give away tasks, give away functions when it's your business, right? You're the one all in, you're the one financially invested, you're the one that's going to hurt the most if things go bad. So it's very difficult to delegate out tasks, which will lead to you doing everything yourself, which is going to go over the boundaries. It's going to overextend yourself, especially as your business continues to grow. Now, that goes into the next one, insufficient systems. So there's many small business owners that I work with that are growing. They're at 20 people now, and they still don't have robust systems in place. So they're doing things manually. They're still texting out instructions throughout the day and troubleshooting that way. Imagine doing that with 20 people on top of all the roles you already have, those 6 other roles. You're never going to get time off, and you also have constant distractions ping-ponging you throughout the day. And because you're that small business owner, you kind of have it all on your plate. You feel isolated. You feel like no one understands, and it can get lonely at the top, right? You don't have someone to bounce ideas off of, or you're having a difficult conversation situation with the customer. Who do you talk to when you're the business owner and you're trying to lead the team? You want to look strong. You want to look like you know what you're doing, but we're all just trying to figure it out. When you figure one scenario out, guess what? Another scenario comes up. So having that lack of community as a business owner in freelance, entrepreneur, or small business where you're growing your team can be kind of isolating. So let's talk about some practical strategies to overcome this burnout, because I've definitely tried many things as a small business owner to find better balance in doing the 6 roles and in doing this all myself. And I have found a few to be very practical, which means not a lot of time and money and investment on my part to do it. Just some habit and behavior changes within my routine. Now, that is sweet news to my ears because I don't want another thing to do. I want energy. I want to be able to thrive in my business, love what I do, and still show up for my family at the end of the night. So let's get into it. The first one is going to be some time management, but in a way that's going to focus you. So time management to me as a business owner is kind of a myth because you will never get more time, and it seems like you only need more time to get things done. So in the time management segment of this, I want to talk about 2 things. The first one is time blocking. You've probably heard about it before, but as a small business owner, really what it comes down to is focused time. So for example, on Mondays, it's my back office day, which means I don't schedule calls with clients. I'm not out at programs unless it's like the unicorn client, your ideal avatar client that you couldn't believe that you got. Unless it's that situation, Mondays are off limits, and they're for me and my business, which means I'm doing accounting, I'm doing marketing, I'm making videos, I'm prepping for my programs for the week. I'm getting my business set up so that I'm not scrambling later in the week when I need to show up for services. So that means I need to focus. And how you want to do that is remove distractions, remove that email unless you're working off of an email, remove your phone, all the notifications, remove everything and focus on the task. And I can't tell you how much energy I've gotten back from having a back office day with focused work. I go in with a goal. a time frame I want to put towards it, and that's all I work on. I don't have my email up. I'm not like checking social media. I'm not answering calls. It is complete back office day. And in between those time blocks, I do check email. I do check my phone. I get back to people, but not during that focused hour, focused 2 hours. And I have gotten a load of work done. This is when I work on my work strategy, my marketing strategy. This is when I stay compliant with my accounting and catch up on things. This is when I get my head straight. And the powerful thing about doing this, especially for me on Mondays, is I set the tone for the week. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like I'm chasing all week long because I got the things that needed to be done right now completed. So that's the first thing with time management. The second thing I want to talk about with time management is stop focusing on time. You're not going to get more time, and the list is ever growing as a small business owner. So what I started focusing on is outcomes over hours in this instance. So what in your business do you truly need to work on? What in your business is going to bring in income? What in your business is going to support the premium services that you want into this business for? For example, I have coaching. I do virtual coaching. And that's because sometimes in programs in larger groups or even small groups, there's individuals that need a little bit more help. There's individuals that are working through situational events with their team in which the whole group doesn't need to be involved in that conversation. It's their personal leadership journey. So we don't use up time in our programs for that. I move them out to individual coaching. Now, individual coaching takes 1 hour per person for me. And so that can be a time sucker if I have too many people on my coaching side. My business main focus is on conference speaking and programs at private clients. So the leadership coaching, I have decided to only have a certain percent of my business focused on that, which means I'm not spending a lot of marketing on it. I'm not spending a lot of time dedicated to those sessions. Do I love those sessions? Absolutely. But there's only so much of Kelly to go around. So I have premium focus on conferences and speaking at those, on the work I do to get that prepped for being on stage. I focus a lot on building client programs. And then at the end is leadership coaching. So do you see where I'm focusing my time and my efforts? And then I have a small portion of my business for coaching. Do you have that type of percentage breakdown across your services? And it's going to be different for every business owner. For example, one small business that I work with, they're very service oriented in people's homes. And there's one service that makes them a lot of money. It's where their talent shines in their team. And then there's another service that's kind of become just an add-on. There's other people that do it. They're not like the experts in it. And they have focused less there and more on their premium service where their talent shines. And their whole business has flipped, right? They're making money where it's worth it to them. Their talent is excited to come in for the day because that's where they want to work, where they thrive, where their skill sets are. And they're attracting the customers because of that focus. So 2 time management sides, right? One is time blocking. Find a back office day, back office time in which there's no distractions. You're focused. You have a goal going in, right? We're not going to figure out what we're going to work on once we get to that focus time. You're going to go into it with a goal to focus on something, kind of move it forward, get some progress, or get it completed. Uninterrupted time. The other one is focus on an outcome over hours. So what are you good at? What are people coming to you for? Where do you bring the most value? Focus most of your efforts and time around that. And certainly you can have other services, but you want to make sure that you're not trying to do it all. So those are the 2 time management suggestions I have for your strategy. Now, the next thing is delegating and outsourcing. So say you find some of those things that are not of value for you, or you're not really in that skill set. I want you to start outsourcing. There's so much great freelance and fractional work out there right now that you need to let go of control. So what are you okay letting control of? If you put good goals and parameters in place, that can be an amazing resource to get you back some energy so you can focus on the service, the value you provide your customers instead of getting drained by some of those day-to-day tasks. So some things you can outsource is social media. Some things you can outsource are accounting. There's great freelance bookkeepers now. Just let them do the billing. You use a system so that they know how to bill people and let them do all the work. There's some people that don't like sales. So maybe you can outsource pieces of that, right? They still want to have a conversation with you, but there's preliminary things in sales that you can outsource. Maybe it's maintenance of your website or other platforms that you use. Again, you can outsource it. So just think about, where's your energy being drained? Where's a lot of your time being spent that's not of great value? And that's probably good outsourcing areas to look into. Now, let's talk about building systems. So are you streamlining things like checklists? Are you automating things like email appointments and scheduling? There's great software, very affordable. Mine's all through my website, to tell you the truth. And when I get emailed, there's automated systems that go in place. And certainly there's a human aspect of that at the end, but it helps me filter out the spam. It helps me make sure that I'm working with clients that are a great fit and that I will be able to serve well. Same with my scheduling. There's things that I have to do for my service, and there's a methodical way to get there. So I have an automated checklist that will email me reminders leading up to the event so that I don't forget something or have to carry that mental load of like, what am I missing? That checklist has been going the whole way up into the event. The next strategy I want to talk about is support network. So find your people. I have been part of different small business groups. Every kind of group has a different vibe, different things that they want to work on, that they support each other on. And I want you to find your thing. For example, business to business type of groups weren't my thing, but it's because it didn't really align in the services that I provide. I joined a speaker group, which has been phenomenal, a complete catalyst in my business because they were in the same service industry of me. There's great like local chambers and small business groups. Is that more your vibe? There's young professional groups, there's freelance groups, there's fractional groups. So find your support network, peers that are within your field, in your industry, in your type of small business, and be part of that. And if you want to be part of a mastermind, that's great, but know that they're going to push you. So be ready for that. Do you just want a place that you can talk about your challenges and some of your hurdles? Then do that. Or do you need just a business coach, like a business group to bounce ideas off, or people can challenge you, they can push you, but also they know when to back up and to support you. Find a support network specific to your type of business, your type of industry. When I first got into this, I was in the wrong groups, I was in between groups, and it was lonely. You would have those challenges and no one to talk to. You would have those customers you don't know how to deal with and not anyone to talk to about it. And you wouldn't know about great resources or outsourcing tools because you didn't have those type of people to talk to. So find your crew. And the last, but definitely probably it should be the first, is self-care. So we like to say that as business owners, but this business won't run without you. And that got me really to focus on my health. When I feel crummy, I can't show up for my clients. When I'm crummy, I am not creative. When I'm crummy, I feel like I can hardly get the bare minimum done and I'm already overwhelmed. So I've had to shift self-care like sleep, movement, time away, like my phone disappears, so that I can show up. I can show up for the people I serve. I can show up for my business. And recognizing that over time has gotten me to level up my business so high because I can create, I can impromptu, I can adapt like crazy. But it's because I started taking care of myself. I can do those things and that amount of change in this crazy demanding world because I am centered when I wake up. I give myself time. I give myself some grace, some space. I practice gratitude for how far I have come. I do the hard things that we don't want to do, right? When you got to look yourself in the mirror. And over time, and I'm talking a short time, right? Only a few weeks of doing that, I feel like things are just bouncing off of me when they should probably be challenging. I feel like I can show up to my customers full of energy and present, not worrying about everything waiting for me back at the office. I feel like a lot of clarity came back to my business of where I need to go and the next steps I need to take. So don't discount self-care. It seems like I don't have time for this and it's another thing we have to do, but it's pretty much at the foundation of everything that you do. Because if you don't have a sharp mind, if your body is worn down and tired, right? If you are emotionally not processing things and spewing all over those tight relationships that are supporting you, it's not going to be a fun ride. And then this business is just going to be something that you don't want to do anymore. So if you truly believe in the mission of your business, the purpose of it, the value you bring, I want you to put you at the center of it. When you take care of you, people feel that energy, right? They get attracted to you. Have you ever been to a business that they're just cranky, right? They just like, woe is me. This life sucks. Like, you don't want to go back there, right? And then you go into another business, same circumstances in this world, right? And they're dealing with it and they just have a positive attitude about it. And it's not fake smiles. Like, they genuinely are glad that you're in their business working with them. They're so happy to be doing what they're doing. I want to work with them. Like, they're the first people that come to my mind that I recommend out. So do you see that your energy kind of attracts one vibe or the other? So one vibe's going to bring you more business and be a lot more fun to work around in the upcoming years and help you grow. And in general, you wake up excited to do it. And then the other one is just kind of a drainer. You know, like, maybe this just isn't for you, and that's okay. But the reason why we're talking about small business burnout is I don't want you to get to that state, because I know you have a skill set and you have a value to bring. And I wish more people were small businesses, because I don't like the big painted over corporate, you have to do it this way. I love the customization of small businesses and the character that comes out through that. And there's so much avenue in this world of change right now to start your business. If you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling this small business burnout, it's not failure. It's a signal that something needs to change. Now you know the signs, you know some of the root causes, and you have a few strategies to begin the change. If you're looking for a little more help, I want you to go over to my website and grab up a coaching conversation under services. And there's two ways of doing this. If you're a leader of a team, I want you to go grab up the leadership coaching session. If you're a small business or you're starting a small business, or you're not really sure where to go with your small business, fractional or freelance work, I want you to grab up one of the launch packages, which includes coaching, but also a lot of business strategy to get you from this stuck state to where you want to go. And remember, we can engage productivity and energy while preventing burnout. Today's step matters. It's in the micro moments that real change begins. Managing your energy isn't about shame, blame, or disrupting your lifestyle. It's about the small, intentional choices to reclaim that natural energy. If this episode hit the mark for you, share with others. This journey doesn't have to be lost and lonely, but exciting and full of new paths. See you back here to continue the adventure.